Good Thursday afternoon. We've got some active weather north right now. Again, this is timed. This is at 2:45 this Thursday afternoon. Severe thunderstorm watch has been extended 2 counties down, basically, to cover North Alabama until 7 o'clock. I don't see that threat lasting through 7. The strongest storm right now here is moving towards Tullahoma, and it's moving towards Timms Ford Lake. A lot of wind in this, probably momentum driven here as it's tracking to the southeast. This is going to be, again, approaching Winchester, just to the north there of the Jack Daniels facility. They're in Lynchburg, Tennessee, south of Manchester towards Tullahoma. And again, this is a threat on the lake, especially Timms Ford Lake up here over the next 35-40 minutes. As we expand out, there are additional thunderstorms here, but the warnings have started dropping from here. And we're kind of at that point, we talked about this yesterday, as this line tracks to the south, it's likely going to weaken some. So I think we're kind of at that position now. It's starting to show a weakening trend. And put this into motion here. And you can see the dominant wind flow here. The higher wind is tracking east-southeast. There's going to be an outflow boundary out ahead of all of this. And the winds are going to gust to about 20, maybe 30 miles an hour initially. You'll probably see some 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts along 64. From Pulaski over to Fayetteville and definitely into Winchester. That's where you may see an isolated damaging wind gust of 60 miles per hour. But even that threat is starting to go down just a bit. I'll put this into motion, and you can see we're kind of losing some of the brighter colors here as this moves into Tullahoma, southeast of Shelbyville. So a lot of lightning out there with these storms as they come through. But again, we've got that severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. There's no guarantee that's going to basically make it all the way down. There is another watch well north of us, another cluster will watch as that drops southeast tonight, and that actually shows up in the model guidance. So again, counties in yellow here until 7 o'clock. I have a feeling that if these storms continue to weaken, they'll likely drop that watch. The only thing, if you're watching radar, is to note that outflow boundary as it drops south can act like a mini cold front, and that can actually lead to additional developments. So that's kind of what we're watching for as we go through the rest of the afternoon. Excessive heat warning continues out west, and that's where it's really been the worst. These clouds coming in from the MCS to the north, that complex of storms, that's really keeping us from even reaching the advisory criteria in orange. So overall, it hasn't been as warm as we thought. Here are the current feels-like temperatures. Notice we're not meeting the requirement in any area except out west. And that's mainly a heat advisory criteria, not heat warning. But we do expect this to expand, the heat continuing over the next few days on into the eastern part of the area. But here's a look at the Shoals right now, 97 degrees. So definitely reaching our forecast highs there. Over the next 4 days, again, first alert weather day, don't count Sunday in there. I haven't updated this graphic yet. But that's pretty much what it's going to look like. And heat illness indicators, again, I want to remind you of that. You're looking for heat exhaustion and heat stroke. There is a difference, although some of you may feel just as bad either way. Faint or dizzy, you're going to have a throbbing headache, though, with the heat stroke. Excessive sweating versus no sweating. When you have a heat stroke, your body's no longer cooling itself. The sweat is gone, and you're just hot, dry skin. Usually it's red. If you're having heat exhaustion, cool, pale, clammy skin, nausea and vomiting are both symptoms with the heat stroke and the heat exhaustion. A rapid weak pulse or a rapid strong pulse. If it's a rapid strong pulse, that is going to be heat stroke. Muscle cramps, again, that's where your body, you have this big cramp, and it'll be sore for days if you're just getting muscle cramps. But if you have a heat stroke, you may lose consciousness. If you think you're having a heat stroke, you need to call 911. If you think you're just having heat exhaustion, keep in mind you need to get indoors, cool off, take a shower, and overall, you're going to be more susceptible to heat exhaustion or heat stroke tomorrow if you don't take those necessary precautions. And if you think you've had if you think you are suffering from heat exhaustion, you want to take it easy, really take it easy tomorrow. Current temperatures across the board in the 90s, upper 80s though, but notice the cooler temperatures on up here to the north, and that's going to be indicative of that cool pool of air coming in from the north. So overall, threats fairly low, even though we have that severe thunderstorm watch. I think things are kind of playing out as we thought they would. I'll have an update on that forecast coming up at 4, 5, and 6.